Welcome to what I'm going to call Motorsport Minutes, a new series that I'm going to be running alongside my racing and motorsport photography vlogs. We'll call this episode 0, since it's not really an episode, but essentially it is everything about me, Halston Pitman. I'm an industry insider as a motorsport photographer. I've been working for 15 plus years professionally. That was Grand Am previously, ALMS. Now it is IMSA, as well as SRO. I shoot some IndyCar events here and there, as well as various other motorsports. So let's get into it. The basic idea here is going to be simple, easy to record, and easy to watch back on YouTube interviews with interesting personalities. And that'll be anywhere from photographers like myself, videographers, other members of the media, series owners, drivers, team owners, etc. So basically, I'm going to try to get as many different interesting people that I can and drop it on the YouTube page. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and jump on that subscribe button. We'd love to have you follow along. What I do in motorsports is I am a motorsport photographer. So I travel with my main two series every year is IMSA and SRO America. They do go to some of the same tracks. They also have some marquee events. Like every year I start out at the Rolex 24 in Daytona for IMSA. That's a 2-week thing. I actually have a full vlog of what goes all into that if you want to check that out on the channel. And SRO does a full series 7 weekends. They also have an extra event at the Long Beach Grand Prix, which actually runs alongside IMSA and IndyCar at Long Beach, which will be coming up here at the end of March, beginning of April. So essentially, I follow the series. I take photos. I provide those photos to clients, whether that's the series itself in some instances, manufacturers, teams, drivers, sponsors. That's how I get my way through motorsports. And my backstory, essentially, I had a 1999 BMW M3 and I did track days in it, HPD, high performance driver education. And I would buy photo packages from people who were covering the event because at that point, back then, I wanted to share them on MySpace. Facebook had kind of started out there as well. But essentially, I was just wanted to share the photos, wanted to have cool stuff to look at and show my friends. And I decided at some point, well, if I get a camera, I can start photographing my friends. Maybe they'll give me a little bit of money that'll help pay for the track days. And that's where it all started. It did lead to me starting with a single client shortly after I began. I was a couple years into it, and that was Roundel Magazine. So I provided media for them to run. At that point, it was Grand Am and a little bit of ALMS on that front, photography-wise. They'd go along with the stories that they put out every month. It's the BMW CCA Car Club magazine. It's actually a really well-done publication. I don't work with them anymore, but that is essentially where I started and got me into events. That did lead to then working with some BMW clients, many of who I'm still with to this day. They got me started, and I'm still extremely thankful and loyal to those clients because without them, I wouldn't be here. My future, I'm actually relatively happy with how everything is right now. I do enjoy the sports car side of things. So shooting a full IMSA season and a full SRO, plus the sort of test days and media things that go along with the clients keep me rather busy. I do have a side business, MSM Track Days, which does cover those things we talked about before, HPD and track days. When I combine all of those weekends, as well as some additional weekends where I'm going as a second or third, assistant or shooter to help other ones with IndyCar, Mazda MX-5 Cup, etc., it ends up being 30 to 35, sometimes more weekends a year, as well as I have done Le Mans before, some other international races. When you add all that up, it is a lot of time away. So the future, honestly, would say if things hold steady, I am obviously expanding. I'm doing the vlogs here. So I'm kind of trying to run the photography side of things and then also do interesting stuff like this on YouTube where I can fill in my, Monday through Wednesday things while I'm at home and have some other stuff going on. For me, my favorite track and event, in this case, they are different. My favorite track is Road Atlanta. That's with driving, which again, have a read on my channel. We just did a race with Larry Chin. Got 3rd place in class and 7th overall, 14 hours at Road Atlanta. That's driving and photography. That is my favorite track, especially during Petite with the times they run. We get sunset. It's just a great event. but it's not my top event. My favorite event to go to is actually the Rolex 24. Main reason why I love it is because we're getting back into it, back to work in January. There's people I haven't seen in a few months. I do like how they have it set up where there's the media day, a full day of testing. We're doing car to car, headshots, team photos, and more. It's fun to kind of get into that at the beginning and get back in the swing of things. And then you have the mega event, obviously the 24. So I actually do enjoy that 2 weeks away. And obviously it's an iconic, it's one of the biggest races on the planet. So it's awesome to be able to be there and be included in that. I think this year was my 16th or 17th Rolex 24 that I've done in a row. So that's my favorite event. It is different from my favorite track. If I had to choose a best moment of my career to date, honestly, the most fun thing or biggest thing that I've probably done to date is go to Le Mans with Era Motorsports. That was awesome. This is the first time I'd been there. I'd love to get back, but that's one of those events that everyone is saying, hey, if you haven't done it, you want to do it. I would totally agree with that. That is definitely one that I would recommend trying to get to, whether you're a fan or a photographer. The second thing would probably be like kind of maybe a tier below that, but I've had the pleasure of working with Mini USA as their motorsport photographer for over 10 years now. They started in Grand Am in Continental Tire Challenge. They now run SRO. That's been a pleasure. So maybe I'd be a 1A and a 1B there if I had to choose. Obviously, for me, how do I use media and photography that's the core of my business. Like I said at the beginning, I have clients ranging from manufacturers to drivers to teams and sponsors. So obviously, I do take some photos just sort of for myself from my personal Instagram page. But generally speaking, I'm there to take photos for those clients so that they can use them in press releases, web pages. Like at the Rolex 24 and the Roar test, we're taking headshots and car to car to make hero cards so they can hand those out to fans with the driver's signatures on them. But that's why I'm there. I'm there to take photos and document what's going on so that the teams and everyone can use them for their needs. And finally, for some of the bonus items, what was my first car? Would I like to have it back? My very first car was a 1997 Jeep Wrangler Sahara. It was white with a tan top. It did have full doors. It had both tops, actually a hard top and a soft top. Honestly, in high school, I love that car. I still love Jeeps. Over the years, I found, though, for me, I do like off-roading them. And I found that actually is more expensive in repairs and fixing than actually racing cars. So I have had a couple of Jeeps. I don't have them anymore. I don't have any interest right now in getting them. But honestly, if I could have that exact one back, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like that car a lot. A lot of fun memories in it, a lot of fun off-road trips, but definitely have steered to a different way into more of like sports cars and classic cars of what I like now. But yeah, I would definitely take that one back. A car that I miss, there's definitely one in the past. I've owned many BMW E36 chassis, specifically M3 models. But for a few years, many years ago, I had a 1997 Dakar Yellow M3 5-speed sedan over a black interior. It was mint. I was a second owner. The car originally started in Florida. And that's one, if I could have it back or choose not to sell it, or in this case, trade it plus cash for a different car, I had a desire at the time. I wanted the E36 M3 Turbo. And I've happened to find one and just pitched the guy, hey, I have this, kind of super rare M3 sedan. Would you be interested? And they were. And the silver coupe was plain and basic, but, was turbocharged, and it was a lot of fun. But that's definitely the one that I'd like to have back. And finally, the big one for everyone, which is kind of a conversation starter thing there, is it Dunkin' or Krispy Kreme? For me, that's easy. I grew up on Dunkin' Donuts. Obviously, there are two different types of donuts. That's just my preference. It's probably because that's what I grew up on as a kid. I remember going to Dunkin' Donuts, getting donuts. So it was just the bias that I have at this point. If we add in Tim Hortons, obviously, I love going to Canada. We usually go there 2, sometimes 3 times a year, depending on what the schedule each one does and where I'm needed. That doesn't change anything for me. I know our friends up north love Tim Hortons, not the biggest thing for me. I'm still going to have to go with Dunkin'. And this will give you an idea of basically what we're going to do here with Motorsport Minutes. Obviously, each person will have different stories. We'll dive in a little bit more, potentially with my relationship with that person. They'll have some fun stories they can share. But this is a general idea. It's going to be sort of a base core questions, a few fun questions about cars or motorsports, and then something that maybe is a little bit controversial with who has the best donuts or where you'd like to get a donut from. But again, if you sound like this is something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're looking to do about 1, maybe 2 of these per week. I will be compiling them, whether I'm at an event. Potentially we'll do some via Zoom, but I am going to try to do them in person. I already have a few recorded. We have Larry Chen, Lester Epps. I'm actually going to get lunch with Ryan Eversley tomorrow. So the first few are going to be some big names with some big stories that we're going to start with. So I'm happy to have you follow along. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.